The movie begins with an ongoing war. Two brothers, Dmitry and Arkady Belov, lead the revolution for Scifi's independence from the Russian state. Bloodshed is everywhere, and the revolution ultimately ends in tragedy. Dmitry is killed in an airstrike, and Arkady is captured, bringing the revolution to a halt. 17 years later, Arkady and his loyal men believe that Dmitry faked his death. Desperate for information, they capture and torture a man, seeking to uncover Dmitry's whereabouts in London. The man, injured and terrified, attempts to flee from his pursuers but is eventually caught and brought to a secret facility. At the facility, Arkady and his men relentlessly torture the captive, trying to extract information. Despite the excruciating pain, the man remains silent, refusing to reveal anything. The tension builds as Arkady grows more frustrated and desperate, determined to find his brother and rekindle the revolutionary flames. Meanwhile, in London, former U.S. military soldier Michael Knox arrives at his late best friend's house. He is there to take his best friend's daughter, Danny, to a West Ham United football game. Michael had served in Afghanistan with Danny's father and was the sole survivor of their last mission, which deeply affected him. We see Danny, a rebellious teenager, currently grounded by her mother for delinquent behavior. Michael, understanding both the challenges of military life and the importance of keeping promises, steps in to smooth things over. He reassures Danny's mother, promising to keep Danny safe and help her stay out of trouble. Reluctantly, Danny's mother agrees, allowing Michael to take her to the football match. Danny is thrilled and grateful for the chance to escape her current restrictions, and Michael hopes that the day out will provide some positive influence and bonding time. Little do they know, their outing is about to take an unexpected and dangerous turn. Arriving at the West Ham Stadium, Upton Park, Michael and Danny are greeted by the bustling atmosphere of excited fans. As they make their way inside, Danny spots one of her friends, Brandon, in the crowd. Michael, wary of Brandon's influence, insists they stick together and guides Danny away from him. Once inside the stadium, Danny opens up about her frustrations and sadness over her dad's death. Michael listens empathetically, offering her support and understanding. To lighten the mood, he decides to get them both hot dogs. While Michael is away, Danny receives a text from Brandon and, against her better judgment, decides to join him at his seat. Unbeknownst to them, Arkady and his team of mercenaries have covertly infiltrated the stadium. They move swiftly, taking over the control room and initiating a lockdown of the entire facility. The unsuspecting fans continue to enjoy the game, oblivious to the danger around them. Arkady targets Superintendent Steve Thompson, the stadium's head of security. With calculated precision, they take Thompson hostage, using the threat to his family to force his cooperation. The mercenaries' actions are quick and ruthless, ensuring that the stadium remains locked down and under their control. As Michael returns with the hot dogs, he senses that something is amiss. The usually bustling stadium staff seems tense, and security presence is unusually sparse. He hurries back to his seat, only to find Danny missing. Realizing that something is terribly wrong, Michael's military instincts kick in. He begins to search for Danny, determined to protect her and uncover what is happening in the stadium. Meanwhile, in the control room, Arkady's men secure their positions and prepare for the next phase of their operation. Arkady himself addresses Superintendent Thompson, laying out his demands and making it clear that any resistance will result in dire consequences. Arkady escalates his operation by ordering his men to blow up all transmission towers across the city. This ensures a complete communication blackout, leaving everyone inside the stadium isolated from the outside world. Back in the stadium, Michael Knox returns to Danny's seat, only to find it empty. Growing anxious, he calls her, but she doesn't answer. As he looks around, he notices that his phone has no service. Observing the crowd, he realizes that everyone else is experiencing the same issue. Something is seriously wrong. In the control room, Arkady initiates a facial recognition search among the crowd, scanning for his brother Dmitry. The sophisticated software processes face rapidly, trying to locate their target among the thousands of fans. Determined to find Danny, Michael seeks help from a cheeky and resourceful stadium guard named Faisal Khan. Faisal, skeptical at first, contacts the control room to check the CCTV footage for any signs of Danny but receives no response. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Faisal reluctantly agrees to assist Michael in reaching the control room. As they make their way through the stadium, they encounter one of Arkady's men posing as a guard near the lift. The confrontation quickly turns violent when the mercenary attacks them. Michael, drawing on his military training, fights back and ultimately kills the attacker. Knowing they need to cover their tracks, Michael and Faisal drag the body out of the lift and into a nearby bathroom. They hide the body as best they can, knowing that discovery would compromise their mission to save Danny and potentially everyone else in the stadium. With adrenaline pumping, Michael and Faisal continue their journey to the control room, now fully aware of the dangerous situation they are in. They need to find Danny and uncover Arcady's plan before it's too late. Michael also discovers C4 explosives hidden in Arcady's man's jacket. Realizing the potential danger, he decides to keep 2 of the explosives with him and hands one over to Faisal for safekeeping. Michael urgently asks Faisal if there's a working phone nearby. Faisal leads him to a small, dimly lit room where they find an old walkie-talkie. Michael quickly uses it to call the police, explaining the situation and the impending danger. The police department informs Chief Commander Daniel Steed about the distress call. Steed decides to contact the goal commander at the stadium to assess the situation. Meanwhile, in the control room, Arcady, having taken control of all communications, instructs the goal commander to stay calm and keep his mouth shut. When Steed reaches the goal commander, the commander, under duress from Arcady, acts nonchalantly, assuring Steed that everything is fine and there are no issues. Steed, thinking it's a false alarm, dismisses Michael's urgent call, scolding him for what he assumes is a prank before hanging up abruptly. Frustrated and realizing they are on their own, Michael and Faisal understand they need to make the police and the public outside realize the gravity of the situation. As Michael and Faisal make their way back towards the control room, they move cautiously, aware that the safety of everyone in the stadium, especially Danny, depends on their success. The stakes are high, and the tension mounts with each step they take, determined to expose the danger and save the day. They decide to find Michael's niece first and then uncover the full extent of what's actually going on. Meanwhile, Arcady is informed about the possible issue with one of his men who was killed by Michael. Sensing trouble, Arcady sends Vlad and Anton to investigate. Realizing that Michael and Faisal are becoming a significant threat, Arcady instructs his men to lock them in, ensuring they cannot escape. Using the radio, Arcady contacts Michael, claiming they are only there to scare the government. He promises that if Michael complies, they will release him once the match is over. However, Michael does not trust him. Determined to act, Michael shares a picture of Danny with Faisal and sends him up through the kitchen lift, hoping to keep him safe and to find help. As soon as Faisal is sent up, Vlad and Anton barge in with their guns. A fierce fight breaks out, with Michael eventually overpowering them. After neutralizing Vlad and Anton, Michael kills 2 more of Arcady's men. Seizing the moment, he drags Anton's body to a balcony and throws it down, causing it to smash into concession stands below. This dramatic action captures the attention of the police outside the stadium. The police, now seeing the undeniable evidence of the violence inside, start to take the situation seriously. The chaos Michael has caused serves as a signal to the authorities that something is terribly wrong inside the stadium. With the police now alerted, Michael hopes they will respond quickly and bring in the necessary backup to end Arcady's siege and save the hostages, including Danny. Seeing this, Arcady and the other mercenaries infiltrate the news studio and kill the crew. Arcady has a reporter read a statement at gunpoint, demanding Dimitri's location, or they will blow up the stadium. As he finishes the statement, Arcady kills the reporter and 2 others on live television, which Danny's mom sees and prompts her to leave for the stadium. During this, Steed is approached by Agent Cho, who explains to Steed that Dimitri fled Russia undercover, underwent plastic surgery, and was given amnesty in London. Cho says that he cannot meet the demands of Arcady as handing Dimitri to him will plunge the entire Russian region into chaos, endangering millions. Meanwhile, Arcady's team learns the background of Knox and Danny, and they decide to take Danny hostage. Hearing them summoning Danny over the speaker to Gate 8 of the stadium, Knox immediately calls Faisal and informs him about the situation. As Danny is heading to Gate 8, Faisal spots her and goes to her rescue. On the other hand, Michael also runs after Danny, but he is caught by security officers in the stadium. During this, Danny notices Michael being caught and she gets confused. Then, as soon as Arcady's men are about to get her, Faisal intervenes and rescues her. He informs Michael that Danny is safe and he is relieved to hear this. Now, because Thompson's team failed to capture Danny, Arcady executes him. Meanwhile, Knox, Faisal, and Danny ultimately discover the C4 explosives planted below the control room, and Knox alerts Steed about it. Given the urgency of the situation, Knox asks Cho to give him Dimitri's location in the stadium, so he can take him to an extraction point himself. In exchange, he demands that Danny be exfiltrated with Dimitri. On his way, Knox encounters and fights Tatiana, ultimately escaping and finding Dimitri. He goes near Dimitri and calls him by his name. Dimitri is shocked and asks him who he is and why he is here. Michael informs him about Arkady and asks him to come with him, but Dimitri refuses, saying that this match is important for him. Now, Michael has no choice, so he points his gun at Dimitri and takes him with him. On the other hand, we see Arkady watching Michael and Dimitri through the CCTV, and he realizes that it's his brother. He asks his men to go after them and bring them to him. Meanwhile, Tatiana takes Danny hostage and knocks Faisal unconscious. As Michael is taking Dimitri to the extraction point, he notices Arkady's men. Now, Knox fights those men and gets to the extraction point, but is reluctant to let go of Dimitri, as he is his only bargaining chip to get Danny back. He asks Faisal about Danny and he informs him that he was rendered unconscious by Tatiana and she took her. During this, he receives a radio message from Arkady, who threatens him not to hand over Dimitri to Cho, otherwise, Danny will lose her life. In response, Cho has his men shoot at Dimitri to ensure he is not captured by Arkady. However, the incoming mercenaries fend off the helicopter. After they threaten Danny, Knox agrees to hand over Dimitri to Arkady in exchange for her. On the other hand, Steed berates Cho for risking the lives of innocent people and takes control of the situation. A helicopter comes back and kills most of the other mercenaries, but Dimitri and Danny are captured. Michael takes Dimitri to the meeting point and asks Arkady to send Danny and the kill switch for the bomb first. At first, Arkady refuses, but then he tells him that he can only demand one thing, so Michael chooses Danny. However, Danny refuses to come and praises her dad and Michael for being brave. Then, Arkady forces her to walk to his uncle. While going to the other side, Danny notices that the man coming from the other side is not Dimitri but Michael himself, but he signals her to stay quiet and run away with Dimitri. As soon as Michael reaches near, he attacks Arkady's men. He is also assisted by Chief Steed's officers from the helicopter. When Michael finally overpowers Arkady and snatches the kill switch from him, Tatiana arrives and a fight begins. After Knox struggles with Tatiana, they both fall from a higher point in the stadium and she is fatally impaled by a pipe. Knox manages to get and keep hold of the kill switch, but realizes it is fake. Before dying, Tatiana explains that the bomb will blow up 90 minutes into the match no matter what. Meanwhile, Danny and Dimitri are caught by Arkady's men and taken to him. When Dimitri reunites with Arkady, Arkady vows to start the revolution again if Dimitri proves his loyalty by shooting Danny. But unwilling to let Arkady's madness destroy the region with another revolution, Dimitri shoots himself. Before shooting himself, he tells Arkady that he loves him but he needs to make the right decision. This makes Arkady mad and he shoots everyone in the room except Danny. He decides to take revenge on Michael and takes Danny with him. On the other hand, with just a few minutes left, Faisal is able to evacuate the audience that is near the stadium's control room. Meanwhile, Arkady takes control of the live broadcast, holding onto Danny as Knox runs towards the control room from across the field, but he's too late and the bomb goes off, destroying the control room. But as he starts to mourn, Knox looks more closely at the frozen big screen, which was not destroyed, and notices a time difference in two clocks, realizing that the live broadcast was pre-recorded 85 minutes into the match and that both of them are probably alive. As the crowd stampedes towards exits, Knox hears Danny crying out and confronts Arkady. With a gun to her head, Knox tells Danny to use her head. She gets the hint and head-butts Arkady, sending him briefly reeling, and Knox kills him. Danny reunites with her worried mother, who runs to her arms, and Steed thanks Knox for his bravery. In the end, Knox, Danny, her mother, and Faisal, who was near the blast but managed to survive as he rescued an older woman who he had argued with earlier, leave the stadium. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.
Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.